Hello, Lauren. My name is Jasmine Collins. I thought you should know that I've been dating your husband. I'm sorry to be contacting you out of the blue, but there was something that I just had to ask of you. So I searched Brody's phone and found your contact information. That's how I was able to contact you.
Hello. I have to say, I was quite surprised by the sudden message. But it's good to find this information out. I'm glad that you've contacted me. What exactly do you mean when you say that you've been dating my husband?
I mean, exactly what it sounds like. I mean, we've been having a serious relationship since about a year ago.
You've been having a serious relationship with my husband? But we're married. I don't know why he would be in a serious relationship with you. Do you understand what it means to date a man who has a wife?
Yes, of course. I understand that generally speaking, such a thing would be called an affair. But there is something you must understand when I explain the situation to you. Brody doesn't love you. The two of us have been really, truly dating in a serious manner for about a year.
I have a guess as to the reason you went out of your way to contact me. I think that you want to encourage me to get a divorce so that you can marry Brody. But why don't you tell me in your own words?
Okay, how should I put this? He feels that it's really hard being married to you. He told me so many things about how horrible you are. So you're right on the money. I am contacting you because I'd like you to divorce him.
Has Brody told you himself that he finds it difficult to live with me? Or is this just an assumption you're making about something he said?
I hear complaints from him about you practically every day. You work at the same company, don't you? He says it's quite constricting to be working at the same company and living under the same roof. Moreover, he's insecure because you're better educated than him. He says you make him feel like he's stupid. You shouldn't belittle your husband like that.
I don't know what he's told you, but I have never and would never belittle him. I do know that he's held on to many different hang-ups for a long time, but I think he just needs therapy.
The only thing that is hard about his life is being with you. If you love him, please just let him go already.
And this is his opinion? He told you that he wants to break up with me?
I mean, didn't I already tell you that he's complaining about you practically every day? He obviously wants a divorce. Why else would he be dating me?
You also told me that you found my contact information by looking through Brody's phone, yeah? Does he know that you've been looking through his phone? Does he know that you were going to contact me?
No, he doesn't know anything about this. I'm just doing this for his sake. I thought I could take the steps he lacked the willpower to take to save him from his misery.
Is that right? So you're just acting out of the goodness of your heart?
He really does seem happy when we're on dates together. When it comes time for the date to end and for him to go home, he just seems so depressed. I don't like seeing him distraught like that. Don't you feel bad or something for keeping him tied up with you despite how depressed he is? Don't you want him to be happy?
Of course. I'd like my husband to be happy. That would be why I married him. Because I wanted us to be happy together.
When was the last time you two went on a date? He takes me to delicious restaurants like basically every day. We went to quite the high-class French restaurant just the other day. Oh, he ordered this incredibly expensive wine. I was very impressed. He's such a cultured man. Before we went to the restaurant, he bought me a beautiful gown just to be completely sure that we met the dress code. Oh, he also bought me these amazing shoes. The price was jaw-dropping. But I guess he's on the board of directors. He's always giving me such wonderful presents. He's such a fabulously kind man. Does he ever do that sort of thing for you?
He does that for you? To be honest, I'm shocked. He's not really the type to give gifts. Recently, we've both been busy with work, so we haven't really had the opportunity to spend much time together. We unfortunately haven't really been able to go out together, but we used to go out when we were both less busy. It seems like he was actually busy spending time with you, though, not working.
He'd rather spend his money on me than use it on you. I mean, he clearly spent more money on me than you. I won't say that he spends all of his money on me, though. But aren't his feelings for me clear from the amount of money he spends on me?
I can't deny what you're telling me, but I'll need to speak to Brody directly about this. So I must be going. I'll contact you again after I've spoken to him about this whole affair.
Please suggest getting divorced to him. He'd be much happier being with me rather than continuing to stay at your side. I'll definitely be able to make him happy. Please don't continue to steal away his opportunities for happiness.
I got a message from this woman named Jasmine Collins. Ring any bells?
You got a message from Jasmine?
She told me that she's having an affair with you, so we should get a divorce. I'm contacting you now to inquire about the veracity of that statement.
The thing about that is...
Look, just tell me the truth. I'm not interested in your half-baked justifications.
Jasmine's probably told you everything. So I guess there's no other option at this point but to tell you the truth.
It's the truth that everything that this Jasmine person told me is actually what's going on?
Yeah, everything she told you all actually happened. If you checked into things, you'd be able to gather some evidence of the two of us being together fairly quickly. So there really isn't any sense trying to lie about it.
So when you told me you were busy with work, you were actually just lying to cover for the affair you were having? On top of that, you don't feel any remorse or have any excuses for doing so?
No, I don't feel any remorse, and there are no excuses, but there might be some justifications. Jasmine contacted you because she was thinking about me, right? That woman can't help but be kind. She doesn't know how to stop herself, unlike some other woman I've been with. You never knew how to care for anybody except yourself.
Are you accusing me of never caring about you? But you're willing to simply flush our lives together down the drain? I wouldn't have done any of the countless things I did for you if I never cared for you.
What is there to do now? I'm in love with her. She's the one I want to be with. I'm going to break off relations with you for her. I'd rather choose a life with her over a life with you. I'm asking you. So just don't cause Jasmine any more harm. I don't want you to go harassing her out of jealousy.
You and this Jasmine are acting like you're the characters in some great tragedy. And you've turned me into the bad guy. As though marrying you was some great sin I'd committed to prevent you two from getting together.
If you're going to say that you're prepared to stand in the way of our happiness, then everything I felt about you is true. You're the monster in this relationship. All I want is to fly free. So please, don't chain me to you out of your own selfish desire to be with me. You will have certainly made yourself the villain if you do that. Mine and Jasmine's hearts have been pierced by true love. If there's any compassion in your heart, you would let our love flourish.
Okay, I think you've made your point. I can see you've fallen for her pretty bad, and that there is truly no point in discussing what you want any longer. So then, let's talk about getting a divorce. We'll need to decide upon the terms.
Right. As far as splitting assets go, the house and the car are yours. Oh, yeah. All the furniture and appliances inside of the house are also yours. I'll move back in with my parents for now. Yeah, Jasmine and I will move in with my mother for the time being.
You're going to get divorced and move back in with your parents? And you're going to live there with your new love? So the four of you in that apartment?
It's quite spacious, and there's a spare room, so it'll be fine.
All right. If you're okay with those terms, then that's fine by me.
We can talk about the money portion of the asset split on another day. We can split it however you like. I'll just leave the decision to you. I'll pay whatever I need to, so let this come to an end. I just want out of this marriage as soon as possible. I'm sorry that I've chosen to marry a younger woman like Jasmine, but I want you to know it's not just because she's younger. You're also in the wrong. You've done all these things to me. I hope you can understand where I'm coming from.
What did I ever do wrong?
We've been married for 6 years, but we haven't had a single child. You've stolen away so much of my life with no intention of giving my parents any grandchildren. My mother has thought I made a mistake with you for such a long time. She's been urging me to get a divorce. She told me that I should get remarried to another, younger woman. That's how I ended up meeting Jasmine. My mother's support convinced me I could move on and find a better wife. That sort of put my mind at ease.
Your mother suggested that you do that? Your mother actually introduced you to Jasmine?
She's been telling me that you're a bad wife for a while now. She's quite upset about you not giving birth to a grandchild. Of course, my father has also been telling me that he wants to see his first grandchild sooner rather than later, but Jasmine is young, and she doesn't think her job is more important than starting a family. You don't understand what the role of a wife is, but she does. She told me she'd become a housewife. Isn't that a more fitting role for a woman? I might finally be able to show my mother and father their first grandchild.
I thought I was getting along with your parents pretty well, but I guess I was wrong. It seems that I was the only one thinking we were getting along. I guess they just hated me secretly this entire time.
You're always so focused on work. I made a mistake marrying you, Lauren.
You made a mistake marrying me? You regret the life we had together?
To tell the truth, you're not what many would call attractive, and you aren't giving me any children. If I was with a younger and more attractive woman like Jasmine, maybe I would have actually had children by now. I picked you out myself, though. I'm the one who caused all of those issues for myself by choosing to marry you. I alone have had to endure 6 years of my parents constantly attacking me over not having children. I was protecting you from their disdain all this time. But it really took a toll on me, and I can't take it any longer. What a waste of 6 years of my life! I'll never get that time back.
You were protecting me by keeping information from me, by letting me do things for your parents while not informing me that they spoke ill of me behind my back? Even though you've been having an affair for a whole year? A whole year, screwing around with another woman behind my back? You could have gone down the path of divorce before starting an affair, right? If you felt that you wasted 6 years of your life being with me instead of having children, you could have asked me for a divorce before screwing another woman. I mean, you could have told me you wanted a divorce at any time, but you didn't even have the courage to do so. You had to wait until you were caught in your secret to bring any of this up.
That's because I was thinking of you. I didn't want to hurt you, especially because I still hadn't intended on getting a divorce. But by contacting you, Jasmine pulled the courage right out of me. I have no regrets because we were able to make it this far.
Is that right? You now don't have any regrets. You're spineless.
Well, I've got to get going. Bye!
I heard from Brody. It sounds like you two will be getting a divorce. I'm really glad that I worked up the courage to contact you. I was worried about how long it would take for Brody to finally work up the nerve to ask you for a divorce. I was a little uneasy about the fact that I might have been meddling somewhere I didn't belong.
Well, we aren't quite divorced yet. We still need to file the paperwork. And there are still things that need to be decided before we can file any paperwork, so it'll take some time. It's going to be quite exhausting, actually. There are so many things that need to be done.
When do you think you're fully divorced? I'm just curious when we can finally move on with our lives. If you need proof that he was having an affair to move the divorce proceedings along, I'll send some to you. I'm fully prepared to contribute to any of the costs to get this divorce to completion. Please break up with Brody as fast as possible for his sake. I don't want to see him have to suffer any longer. He's on the board of directors, so try not to hold him up too long with this divorce. Brody cried to me, saying that you thought of him as just an ATM.
Why would he think I thought of him as an ATM?
He's on the board of directors, so why aren't you using him for his money? Just get divorced as soon as possible and then get out of his company, please.
Then I guess I'll have to fire my soon-to-be ex-husband.
What's that now? You fire him? What the hell are you talking about? He's on the board of directors. Aren't you just some employee? That's what Brody told me. There's no way some low-level office worker like you could get him fired.
What are you talking about? I'm no such thing. It is true that we work for the same company, But you've got the roles reversed. I'm the one in charge, and he is my employee.
What are you saying? That Brody isn't on the board of directors?
My future ex-mother-in-law complained so much that it looks bad for me to be married to just an ordinary employee. So yeah, I promoted him to a seat on the board of directors. But to be honest, it's basically in name only. That's the only reason why he has a position on the board of directors.
Then it's your company? You're in charge of the whole company?
Yes. If you look on the company's website, I'm listed as the CEO. There's a picture of me and my comments on the direction I plan to take the company. You can confirm it for yourself.
I didn't check that deeply into things.
I run the company, so quitting isn't a decision I can actually make. If I need to ensure that we don't get close to one another, I'll have to let Brody go. The faster option, however, would be if he just handed in a letter of resignation. Could you ask him to do that for me?
I understand. I guess I know what has to happen now. Once you two are divorced, he can use his knowledge and experience from working on the board of directors to get a new job. He could even start his own company, even if you did fire him. Oh, he could start his own company and get so much bigger than yours that he absorbs your company. Oh, I'm sure he'd feel great about that. Absorbing his ex-wife's company after she terminated him? I guess it'll be his turn then.
He doesn't have any knowledge about how to start up his own company.
Brody isn't the type of person to be used by somebody else. He's the type of guy who uses other people. He's the kind of guy who should be standing on top.
I think you're blinded by your love for him. You can't see the reality that is sitting in front of you.
I can imagine after a few years, Brody's company will be far bigger than your company. It's okay if you tremble in fear. I know it's difficult to see everything in your life fall apart. Yesterday was my lucky day, so we took our marriage paperwork to the court. We're now husband and wife. Isn't that exciting?
Oh, congratulations. I'm so very happy for you.
Brody started to prepare for getting his own business set up. If things keep going as they have been, I'll be married to the president of the company. We've moved into a high-rise apartment. I've never lived someplace this high up. I'm sorry I ended up just receiving so many things from you. A husband, happiness, just so many different things that were yours are now mine.
I heard you're living with Brody's mother and father as well.
To be honest, I wasn't really thrilled about the idea of living with them. But it's not so bad. I think living in this high-rise really destroyed any apprehension I had. I'm just taking to be able to live here. As the price to pay for staying with his parents. Besides, the bedroom is big as well. So it doesn't feel stifling to live with his parents.
Oh, well, that's nice. Brody's mother and father are often traveling, so they tend not to be around.
Speaking of traveling, do you like Hawaii, Lauren? We were talking about maybe having our wedding in Hawaii, and Brody's mother just started helping us to get everything set up for it. So actually, we're going to do it now. If you'd like, I could invite you.
Do you really have the kind of money to have a wedding in Hawaii? I thought Brody's whole family was in debt.
In debt? What are you talking about? You know that we're living in a high-rise, yeah? The only people who live in high-rises like this are celebrities. You know, people who live in a different world to the one that everyone else lives in.
I'm the one who owns that apartment. You do understand that the four of you are to leave this month?
What did you say? Wait just a second. This is your property? We have to leave this month? This is the first I'm hearing of any of this.
It's my property because I'm the one who purchased that high-rise apartment. That's also why the four of you need to move out this month. Brody's parents went bankrupt. I think it happened about 2 years ago after we got married. Were you aware that Brody's family used to run a chain of convenience stores?
Yeah, I heard that he was running a company, but retired.
He was just the manager of a few local franchises, but he absolutely ruined it. He kept getting moved through the small chain of stores until they all had to be closed. Without his family, he no longer had anywhere to stay. That's why I let his parents use that high-rise apartment I bought. Brody and I actually used to live there right after we got married. However, when I handed the place over to Brody's parents, I thought it was a great opportunity for something new. That's when we decided to build this house that I'm currently living in.
Then this apartment is really your property?
Yeah, that's exactly correct. The apartment is pretty nice, I'll grant you. But I was able to build the house I'm currently living in to meet my exact preferences. Therefore, I made sure to maintain ownership of this home when I split assets with Brody, and I handed that high-rise apartment over to him in exchange. That way, his parents could continue to be allowed to live in it. He was quite insistent that all he wanted in the divorce was that apartment. So I had no issue of letting him have it.
If you handed it over to him in the divorce, isn't it already his property? So it's no longer your property. You can't just decide to kick us out.
I'm glad that I still haven't changed the name attached to the property.
What do you mean you haven't changed the name on the property? Didn't you hand it over as part of the divorce? What does it matter that you haven't changed the name on the property yet?
Well, there's a reason that I left the property in my name. There was something that I wanted to look into. I thought I should wait to sign the deed over until after I'd finished looking into everything. That's why I haven't actually consented to the division of assets that Brody suggested at that time.
What did you want to look into?
I wanted to look into how he had been using his money.
What do you mean? Why do you care how he uses his money?
There were some mysterious expenses from both our personal accounts and the company account. To put it simply, he'd been using our personal funds on whatever he wanted.
But why would it be wrong for him to use the money in your joint personal account on himself? Once you got married, shouldn't a husband or wife join their accounts and freely use the money within? Besides, didn't you say he was on the board of directors at your company?
He hardly ever contributed money to our joint account. He sent the majority of his paycheck to his mother and father. That's the reason why his jobless, penniless parents could go out and travel as much as they liked. As far as the money in our joint account is concerned, it's all from me operating my business. If it were for things like living expenses, it would have been no big deal. But still, with all things told, I was contributing 70% of the assets.
Okay, and so what?
Additionally, there are weird expenses from the business account. I can't very well forgive him using that money to fund his dates with his mistress, can I?
The cost of her dates? Did he really charge the cost of her dates on his business account?
Yeah, the cost of your food, drinks, and hotels. Oh, and we can't forget about all the presents he gave you. Of course, there was that one time when he bought you that expensive gown before taking you to the high-end French restaurant. He bought all of it with the company's money. That means you're also an accomplice to his theft of company funds.
I didn't know anything about that, though.
I'll leave it to the police to determine whether or not that is true.
The police? You're going to file a claim with the police?
Yes, I do intend to file a claim with the police. Anyhow, it wasn't just the cost of your dates. There's also the stupidity of the timing of him leaving his job. Doing so right after taking a whole huge load of money. I assume it's some sort of startup fund.
You're saying that money wasn't from a savings?
We're not talking about the level of one small startup. I've already submitted a report of the damages to the police, and the matter will be investigated.
My husband is going to be arrested?
Soon the police will be helping me retrieve the stolen funds. That includes the money that was used from our joint account. With this revised asset splitting damages, I think I will retain ownership of the apartment. And my ex-husband will have to pay me to make up the remaining difference. I'm not sure how he's going to pay back money that's already been spent. I imagine he'll be paying it off for a long time.
This is the first time I'm hearing of any of this. This isn't what I had planned.
It's too bad that you weren't able to marry the rich husband you thought you were marrying. Oh, that reminds me. If you really have already filed the marriage paperwork, the charges will probably fall under your name as well. So please make sure you and Brody pay it all back before interest rates start to accrue.
Wait, let's just talk about this. Neither of us is working. There's no way we could possibly pay back any of this. I thought I'd be living off my husband's wealth, so I've used up all my savings.
That sounds like your problem. It has nothing to do with me.
How could you be so heartless? You're just jealous of us because you're an old lady who can't have kids. You're just trying to ruin our happiness. What an ugly thing to do.
Oh, that's right. I just remembered there was a message I wanted you to tell Brody's mother.
Why? Tell her yourself. Why do you want me to tell her?
This concerns you as well. I won't charge you for the use of my high-rise apartment up until now. But if you intend to continue living there, I'm going to start charging you rent. I think $5,000 a month sounds fair. Oh, and one more thing, if you don't mind. When their stores went bankrupt, I also lent them some money for living expenses, the move, getting their affairs in order, that kind of thing. I want that $50,000 back right away.
$50,000?
Oh, I still have the contract form from when I gave them the loan, so don't worry. Everything is very much above board. While I was married to Brody, I didn't put any interest or a deadline on the loan. But there was a clause in the contract that if we happened to get divorced, the loan would start accruing interest.
Hey, that's cheating.
Oh, I've got another thing to add.
Are you serious? There's more?
She was worried that I wasn't able to have a child after being married for 4 years. We actually both had exams to do with that situation. It might be the case that Brody is actually the infertile one.
You checked into it?
So the reason we couldn't have children is probably because of Brody's poor swimmers.
What are you saying?
Things might have changed now. I mean, it's been 2 years, but I wouldn't put my hopes too high.
You're lying.
Well, I think I'll have to be calling my lawyer again shortly, so I'll be going now. You'll be hearing from me or my lawyer again.
Please, just hold on a second. I really didn't know anything about any of this. I just lost the lottery. I didn't do anything to deserve this. Please don't burden me alongside Brody with all of his debt. I want a divorce. Please help me get a divorce.
I filed charges with the police over the money laundering that my ex-husband had done at my company. It seems that he'd taken out a huge loan with that laundered money as collateral. There is no way he could have made that much money with his new company. He was just trying to play the part of a wealthy husband. Even though he used to be on the board of directors at my company, there was no way he could earn so much money on his own. He had moved upward to his current position because I loved him, but I doubt that trajectory will continue. He's currently living with his parents in a cheap apartment while working like crazy to pay off all his debts. Jasmine tried to run away from her newly debt-riddled husband, but Brody's parents weren't going to allow that and did everything in their power to stop her. In the end, she broke away from the family, and she's currently in a drawn-out divorce proceeding. The fact that she slept with another woman's husband got out to her parents, and they were so disappointed. They refused to send her any help. I heard that she's been somehow scraping by every day all on her own.